Yeah, they don't need to see me.
Is this your first time doing this? They're not trying both at the same time. There you go.
Dun, dun, dun. Hey, girly.
Very good.
I don't know if you want to see keep this going or what.
Off the table.
I don't know if you want to. Where's the one? Do you want me to command his presence? Does he want me to keep this going or not?
You probably hadn't had anything.
Nope. Thank you.
We weren't trying to get you down.
Tonight, thing that we're going to do is share the juice together and represent the blessing of God.
Keep it going.
And the sharing together from here on out. The life of sharing. Okay, let's go to the table right there.
When they do the share the juice, wherever that is, just keep it on him. Pretty much. But, yeah, so just put it. I'm getting a tripod ready to have you set it on.
All right, the cake will be cut here and they will be serving it, but they will bring it to the table where you are seated. So you don't need to get up to get a piece of cake. They will bring it to your table. They'll bring it to you.
Although I'm the one most likely to spend like a large sum of money.
That game for my wedding is going to be easy. But I'm going to be guaranteed. I find a woman that's
Sorry.
So you have to make sure it stays underneath that shoe.
Okay.
Anything's loose or tight, just make sure I go get it. Yeah. Okay. Watch your stuff.
I'll leave them there, then I'll let you here.
So,
Just stay on and then like basically just wait and then basically they get the same weight as now until they're gonna be interactions and stuff.
Okay.
You can just sit there.
so I don't have to be like right here. I mean, I'm doing it.
Yeah, you can do it like as soon as they're ready to do something. If you need to try to hear, I'll try to keep that camera running. But right now I just have it on them. So because now they really want to know.
You don't mind me reaching behind you, at least I'm not reaching in front of you.
All right, we are thankful that they chose a maid of honor and a best man, and now they're going to give their speech for the bride and groom. Of course, you can hear it too. And I am privileged to be married to the maid of honor. Now, the reality is that I've known Esther, matron of honor, thank you, for about 12 years, and it was Esther and I who taught together. But the girl I was looking at was my wife, Janelyn. And but I remember Esther and Janelyn would sit on the front seat of the van as I was driving. We were church planting there in Arkansas by Watchdale College. And Esther was a very confident young teenager who had her life all together. She had it all planned, and I was just thinking, I wonder if this will work out. Yes, I'll do this at this age, and this such, and I'll be married at 25. Well, I'm glad that we've been a part of her life, so the ups and downs, the joys and the pain, and that God has led her to Robbie. That is the biggest blessing that has happened in her life. And we are so thankful that she has matured into the beautiful young lady that she has. Even though she had her life all planned, God had a plan for her.
Esther. My first memory of Esther is the cafeteria at Washington Hills College. I'm in there and the door comes open and this person doesn't walk through the door, she bounces through the door. And she's got on an interesting assortment of fabrics from Joann's, and her hair done up in a ribbon, and I'm like, okay. So anyway, we went canvassing together, and she's like that in all of the doors. One of my first things I remember about Esther is jumping and bouncing and skipping from door to door, so happy to be in God's work and so happy to be selling books. And that rubbed off on me eventually, and we became good friends at our own program together. But I remember that energy, that enthusiasm. There was something about Esther. She had a little bit of a social disorder of sorts, meaning she didn't conceive of the fact that there might be anyone that would be offended by anything she did or would dislike her in any way. Esther was so confident that everyone loved her, and that confidence wore off, and most of the time everybody did. It worked very well at the doors, it worked very well in her social life and her interactions, and everybody loved her for it. She had a deep belief that she was loved, and you couldn't help loving her. So, I want to talk about marriage for a minute. I've been married almost 7 years now. Esther's been with me for the ups and downs of my relationship, engagement. She was in my wedding, and she's seen a lot. She may or may not remember this, but before I got married, I read a lot of books on how to be a good wife. There's a lot of good books out there. There's a lot of, you should do this, you should do that, and there was good advice, but I tended to be a checklist kind of person, a very detailed, not detailed, but perfectionistic person. And so it wasn't long in my marriage. I had this idea that, I could just do all of these good things and I'd be a good wife and I'd have a happy marriage. I asked my husband, a month into our marriage, I said, what would it be like? What do you want from me as a wife? What can I do to spoil you, to make you really happy? He just looks at me and he says, sing a lot, smile a lot, and have lots of people over. And I said, that was not what I expected. I was expecting a checklist or something, and I struggled with all three of those from time to time, but I think the biggest thing that I struggled with in my marriage was not allowing, was getting so focused on the checklist of trying to be a good wife that I forgot that my husband loved me. There's probably a sermon there that wants to be preached. I'm going to squash it back down. Esther, I hope that that's not a problem that you have. I hope that you can take that that energy and that joy. I've seen ups and downs. It was a shock for Esther when she first found out that there were people who didn't like her. And she had some ups and downs and some struggles, some temptations to believe that she wasn't enough. But she has come through them, and I see her now so happy and so confident. Don't ever forget that Robbie loves you.
Amen.
Never forget that you are, from this day on, the best wife in the entire world for Robbie. Robbie, let me finish my speech. And I know that you're going to take that joy and that energy and that knowledge that you're loved, that joy and that enthusiasm is going to make your home a beautiful, beautiful place. And you're going to make Robbie very happy. I know, because you make everyone happy. And we love you. God bless.
I wish I could get to know all the brothers, but I've heard that Robbie has quite an interesting family. So Randy, maybe share a little bit of us what it's like to be a brother of Robbie.
Well, I'm not sure that we have time for that, but
Thank you.
I will do my best to share a little bit so you can get a little picture of Robbie, maybe that Esther's family has not seen. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome each one of you here, especially the family and friends of the bride and the groom. We're thankful to share this time with you, this moment, and I'm thankful that you are here to celebrate this with us. My name is Randall LaSalle, and I am Robbie's oldest brother, besides him. And obviously the favorite brother. That's why he picked me. It is my distinct pleasure to be here today and to preside over the only 5 minutes of this wedding that the bride did not plan. I'm kidding. It's not going to be only 5 minutes. I'd like to say that it is an honor to be a part of this wedding. It's an honor to be a part of this day and to be here, and I'm thankful for that pleasure. The fact that we've all traveled this distance, I know many of you have traveled quite a distance to be here, I think is a testament to the kind of people that Robbie and Esther are. Very demanding. No. No, we gathered here on a special occasion. It's a special celebration to celebrate two very special people, and I mean that with all my heart. Once in a lifetime, there's this special person that comes into your life that warms your heart, turns your world upside down, that makes you a better person, that changes you in ways you never thought you would change. That happened for Robbie 29 years ago, when I was born. You were thinking something different. Of course, it started off a little rough. See, when the midwife left, Robbie runs up to Mommy and says, "Mommy, they left the baby." Of course, that was a little bit of a letdown, because I was here to stay. Growing up with Robbie, we were very close. We spent a lot of time together. We have a lot of memories, and if I was to take the time to share all those, it would kind of cut into their marriage a little bit. So I will just share a couple. Growing up, we built dams and tree forts and whatever you can think of, we've done it together. We played cowboys and Indians, and we had about 50 acres behind our place, and we made use of it. We spent the whole day outside together. And Robbie was definitely my best friend. We had some cousins that lived not too far, and we would spend a lot of time together, and we were really close. So we would often play with them. It always boggled Mom's mind, though, because we'd come back from playing all day, and I looked like I'd played outside. And Robbie looked a little different. He came back and he looked like he'd spent 4 years crawling through a man-eating jungle then mauled by a bear and fell in a bog. His clothes were torn, his shoes were completely destroyed, and he was covered in mud from head to toe. It is true. You would think it's embellished, it's very true. Robbie just enjoyed being outside and he enjoyed getting dirty. I enjoyed having fun, but I didn't like getting that dirty. But we enjoyed our time together. But for a few years, I actually really thought that Robbie was still trying to get rid of me since the midwife left. One day we were out in the woods playing together, and I remember I'm just hanging out, having a good day, you know, I'm a little kid. And Robbie's explaining some grandiose plan of something. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure it was pretty grand. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a big log flying through the air smashes me in the nose. Well, apparently, Robbie thought he could hit the tree behind me when I was standing in front of him. He was trying to defeat the laws of physics or something. I remember trying to get back to the house, blood flowing down, and it was one of the scariest days of my life. Mom, my nose was broke, and Mom put it back. But I remember that Robbie was petrified. He was literally petrified because he didn't want to hurt me. And I remember that it really, you know, you understand that a brother's love. And I remember little things like that where Robbie hasn't always been so out with emotions. Esther's going to probably bring that out of him a little bit. I think she already has. But I've always appreciated Robbie in my life. I've always appreciated his willingness to be there for me and support me in my endeavors in my life, and I've always really appreciated that. We've had some really great times. I remember that for one birthday, Robbie received a canoe. I believe it was his 16th birthday. I'm not positive. And we were excited to try it out. So we put the canoe on the top of the vehicle and we took it down to a river. Well, you have to understand that this river is probably deep enough for a canoe to float, except there's so many rocks that that's never going to happen. Probably wasn't the best time of year either. But needless to say, we jumped on board, we got behind Robbie, we all got in the canoe, and we're pushing off. And we immediately go sideways. Robbie's steering. This is the moral of the story. Robbie's steering. We immediately go sideways and capsize, like literally 30 seconds from when we got in. It was a fun day, and that was the last time we used the canoe for a while. We did use it after that, but Robbie always loved fire, too. That's something you really need to know about Robbie, so keep the matches away from him. He used to be a little firebug, and unfortunately, we kind of got behind him on a lot of these times, and so that's on us, too. But I remember one time that for some reason, our parents had abandoned us, so we were at home. We were trying to find something fun to do. Robbie found some matches, and we were with our cousins, and he thought it would be a good idea. I'm blaming him. I'm sure we were all thinking the same thing. To start a fire under the canoe that was hanging up by some woods. Well, it had been really dry, so the fire swept pretty quickly. It spread really quickly, and I remember that it took us probably about 2 minutes to realize we'd done something wrong. And I remember that we were panically running back and forth between the house and the spigot with buckets of water trying to put the fire out. And Robbie was the oldest, so it was on him. And I remember that he was really worried. I think he thought he was going to get in trouble, and I think he thought he was going to burn the house down because it was spreading pretty good. Robbie's always loved to read. That's something else you should know about him. He's well versed in many subjects. One thing that I've always admired, maybe been a little jealous of with Robbie, is his ability to read so many books at the same time and so fast. He'll read through a book in he'll read through 10 books and the time it takes me to do one. And that's kind of always been something I've been jealous of. But Robbie is well versed in a lot of subjects because of that. He's learned a lot. And I would encourage Esther to lean on him for wisdom in spiritual areas because he's well versed in the Bible. He studies the Bible and the spirit prophecy. And I would encourage you to be confident in that. Because Robbie loved to read, we would occasionally find books stuck in between cushions, bent in half. This was Robbie's way of holding his spot. He didn't believe in bookmarks. So we knew, oh, Robbie's reading that book. It is important that you understand something. Obviously, as the best man, it is part of my job to rib Robbie a little bit. But as brothers, we joke around a lot. But we are really close. And I will tell you that there are things that I will say and joke about with Robbie that if I caught somebody else doing it, we'd have an issue. And I mean that. Nobody comes between me and my brothers, and I really, really care about Robbie, and I would never allow something bad to happen to him. That's why when Robbie met Esther, and he had GYC, you've already heard part of the story, so I can share this. Robbie comes back to the hotel room that night, and he's probably the saddest I've seen Robbie. He's pretty down. And when I say down, I mean, that doesn't even cover it. Like, he was really, really down. And we encouraged Robbie that if he really cared about Esther, that he really wanted to see if this is something that would work, to go and put in everything he could put in. Give it a try to talk to her, sit her down, and we encouraged her. So you're welcome, Esther. Obviously, this was made possible by the LaSalle brothers. When Esther came into Robbie's life, something changed drastically. He began to act really weird. And he began to do things that Robbie just doesn't do. For one, Robbie has talked on the phone in his entire life a grand total of 9 minutes. When he met Esther, he would talk on the phone for a minimum of 9 hours a day. And you might think that is an exaggeration, but be thankful that times have changed and we're not charged by the minute anymore. Because you need to be a millionaire. At first it seemed harmless and quite cute. Robbie would be talking to Esther and you'd hear them because they're pretty loud. You'd hear them say goodnight, and then goodbye, and then I'll talk to you in the morning. And then a few minutes later, hey, how are you? How's it going? And I'm thinking, wait a second, did time fly by? Is this the morning? Apparently, they're living in a different dimension of time. So we'll give them that. Robbie would put bread in the toaster, and Esther would call. The bread would burn, and hours later would sit there alone and forgotten, never to be eaten. We've thrown away many a loaf. But one day we really started to worry about Robbie. Me and my brothers were out working on some equipment, fixing something at the farm. And we looked up to see Robbie standing in the middle of the road, all smiling in this little love bubble, completely oblivious that there's a car bearing down upon him. You're welcome for saving his life, Esther. You will find that there is a lot of involvement from us in this wedding. Now, obviously, I picked on Robbie a little bit. So, Esther. You have to know that if I pick on you, that it's because I care about you. So, with that, Esther should seriously have a disclaimer like a drug, though. So I think Esther, if she was a drug, would be Esterica. It sounds like a drug, right? Esterica may not be for everyone. Common side effects are dry mouth from talking on the phone all day, oblivion to all your surroundings, which could cause you to walk into traffic, loss of appetite or at least burning your food, inability to hang up the phone. Esterica may cause serious heartburn. Ask your doctor if Esterica is right for you. It may cause changes in behavior, unexplainable actions. These symptoms may get worse with continued use. Stopping Esterica may cause severe depression, withdrawals, and mood swings. Once on Esterica, you may become dependent for life. Statistically, we have one case of that. Now, I'd like to invite the bride and the groom to participate. They look scared. Esther, if you could place your hand on the table. Robbie, if you could place your hand on top. Robbie, this is the last time that you will have the upper hand. All right, I'm not finished. I just want to say that amid the humor, amid the jokes, Esther, I've never seen Robbie happier than when he's with you. And if it makes Robbie happy to be with you, and as long as you guys are in line with God's will, then I am happy to call you a sister.
Amen.
And I am thankful to welcome you to our family.
Amen.
And Robbie, as we say goodbye for a short time while you focus on somebody else in your life besides me, I just want to say that you will be missed, although I hope you will visit New York. It's a beautiful place. You won't forget about us. I just want to say I'm thankful to have you in my life as an older brother. I look up to you. I have a high respect for you, and I know that if I need any counsel or spiritual wisdom, that I can count on you to lend an ear, to give that, and know that it is heartfelt. I want to say that I appreciate the family that we share, both my family and the family that we're now welcoming with Esther. And I want to say that I am again thankful to be here. Thank you for listening. I have so much more to share, but I had to cut it down because it would be too much. So thank you all for coming, and I wish you all the very best. And Esther and Robbie, I wish you the very best in your new journey together. Thank you.
Levi's little brother wants to share a word here.
So, there wasn't supposed to be an open mic tonight, but I talked to Stephen, and so I can talk. So, anyway, I don't think I can up Randy's speech, but I do have a couple of funny stories. So, Esther wasn't always like the big, strong, well, I don't know about the strong part, she always was strong, but the big, mature sister that I have today. When I was younger, Mom would go down for a nap every day. It was about like a 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour nap. And it, like, as soon as the nap started, it was like World War II started. Just one specific memory is Esther and Titus, they would go at it. And I was so little, I wanted to join in, but I didn't quite understand. So they had cups of water and they were throwing them at each other in the house, in the kitchen. And so I wanted to join in. This is fun. So I went ahead, but I couldn't get water out of the faucet. I was too short. But I got a solution. Let's grab the apple juice out of the fridge, slosh it all over the place. So I tried that. I think it put an end to the fight because they got a little worried. Mom came out, couldn't understand why the floor was so sticky. Another time, Esther and Titus thought it'd be a bright idea to bring the horse into the house. Because he was looking in the window, he wanted to know what was going on. So they brought the horse into the house, and a few years later, Esther and Titus were like, "Yeah, Dad, those holes in the linoleum?" Dad's like, "Yeah, we brought the horse inside." And the last funny, embarrassing story I'm going to tell, Titus and Esther were going at it, and I decided to join Titus' side at the dinner table, and Esther started throwing utensils, and a spoon hit me in the forehead, and it made a little mark. It wasn't anything big. Of course, she begged me not to tell anybody, but the first thing I did at church was go to somebody and say, "You know how I got this scar." But all jokes aside, Esther, I've grown up with you, although you were quite a bit older than me, so you were almost grown up by the time I was to the point where I understood I was growing up. But you've always been there for me, even though you were always there at home. You've been with me through the good times and through the bad times. You've always been there for me. And one of Robbie's brothers posted something on, I think it was Facebook. They said that your partner in life, your spouse, is just the person that goes through things with you that you wouldn't have if you were single, through the problems. And if you think about that, as a single person, never loving someone before, it really makes a lot of sense not to get in a relationship. Because it is true, I'm in a relationship, I'm engaged to Raven Malpica. And there are a lot of, relationships aren't easy. They're not like, fun and games all the time. There's hard times, there's times where you wonder, how am I gonna go through this? But when you look back, it's all worth it. When you look back, you never want to trade it back again. All the hard times, all the rough patches, they're always worth the risk. And so I just want to thank you, Esther, for being in my life, and thank you, Robbie, for making her so happy.
Amen.
So, we want to know how well you know each other. Do you know each other pretty well? Yeah, they think so. If they spent 9 hours on the phone a day, they probably talked about something. And so, we asked these questions of a couple in Norway, not after they got married, but right after they got engaged, to see if they could actually go forward, meaning if they knew each other well. So here we're doing it kind of late. You're already married. But now we'll know what your first year of marriage will be like, how well you know each other. So if you could bring your chairs out here, right here to the front. Robbie, if you could help her. I know. Yes, we want the tall chairs so people can see. That's... Okay, Robbie, you are a servant. She has the upper hand now. If you could go around there and get her shoes off and your shoes off there. There you go. Can you all see them okay here? There you go. One shoe for her, one shoe for you. Yeah, now take your shoes off. One shoe for her. Yeah. There you go. Okay, do you know what we're going to do? Do you understand how this works? You don't understand. Okay, well, let's make this clear. Your brother said you're very sharp and bright and very smart. So, I'm going to ask a question, and you're going to have to understand what the answer is or what she's thinking, or already know what she's thinking, because marriage is always all about knowing what she's thinking without her saying anything to you. We're good friends, and we'll talk more about that later on. But now we're going to see how well you know that. So when I ask the question, if you think it's her, you raise her shoe. If you think it's you, you raise your shoe. Is that clear? Esther, you understand how this works? Okay. She might be quite fast, so don't think too long. Okay. Who is the better driver? If you think it's her, you raise her shoe. If you think it's yourself, you raise your shoe.
Be honest.
Okay, so you can't just raise both shoes all the time. We would like to see like one shoe or the other here. Okay, who's the better cook? Oh, they're agreed. So this will work out quite well. Okay. Who is the one who is worse with directions? Okay, my wife and I have decided on this issue that we compromise. Okay, so don't have arguments over this. Okay, let's continue here. Who is more likely to ask for assistance at the store when you're shopping?
I knew that.
Okay.
I knew that.
Don't be too stubborn. Okay, who has the quirkier family? You better answer this question. They're looking at you.
Be honest.
Robbie, come on, let's go. She's gone. You need to do something. You can't see what she's doing, but you need to make a decision. Okay, you can settle that with the family later. Okay. Who wants more children? Just talk it through. Okay. Who has the most shoes? Robbie, you need to make a decision. Who has the most shoes? This is the shoe game. Okay, they're agreed. Well, who is the one who made this relationship official? What does it mean?
Amen.
You're not sure. You're not sure. Okay. Well, you took the lead.
Robbie,
So she's saying you took the lead.
Yeah. All right, that's the answer.
Now, this is interesting. Who tends to be the leader in the relationship? That's a follow-up. Okay, this is going to be an interesting marriage. Paul's giving you advice. Okay. Who always has to have the final words in an argument or discussion?
Esther. Esther.
No, Esther, that's not fair. Okay. Who spends more money? Okay, we'll get to this in a moment. Who shops more? Okay, that would make sense. But who is the cheapest?
Esther.
Well, maybe that's a good combination. Now, who talks the most?
Yeah.
The brothers were pretty convinced it was you. You guys can figure that out as you talk together. Who is more flexible? I'm glad I know you a little bit, Robbie, and know that you're a little bit flexible. That's a good trait of character to have in marriage. Who handles stress better? You can put your shoe down and think about that one. The family's agreeing, huh? Okay. Who has the more dominant personality?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The brothers were agreed on this, but let's see. As long as you learn to compromise in marriage, it'll work. We all have our opinions of knowing you. Now, who is most likely to give unexpected surprises in your marriage? This will work out well. If you both are giving each other unexpected surprises, that will work out well. But who is more sentimental?
Esther.
Okay.
Wow.
Huh. But who is more stubborn?
Esther.
That one you might need some marriage counseling. Who is more shy or introverted? But who exercises more? Esther, he'll help you. Who's healthier or eats healthier or wants to do healthy things? That will work out. Who likes books more? I think we're all agreed with this. You sell books for a living. Yeah, you must like books. But who spends more time on social media? Just don't let it take away from your marriage. Wow. Who is the night owl?
Esther.
So are you a morning bird? You're trying to convert him? Just agree to disagree sometimes and help each other out in that area. My wife and I do that. 'Cause yeah. Who would rather be outdoors? Are you ready to go through all the mud and cuts and bruises, Esther? We heard these stories. Who spends more time on the phone? Sounds like it's equal. Yes. Now you're married. You have fun and fun anymore. Don't forget about your friends, and especially your brothers, where they're all at. But who takes the longest to get ready?
I don't know.
Okay, just agree to be late. But who dresses better?
Esther.
She'll help you. Who could adapt best to living without electricity? You did it already. That's true. In Nepal? Yes, in Nepal.
Amen.
But who enjoys camping more? Esther. We thought it was Robbie. Wow. Well, you did fairly well on that game. Can we give them a hand? I think that your first year of marriage is going to be wonderful because you've learned how to talk together, and from counseling you and talking it through, we know that you're both teachable and you both are in desire the humility of Christ. So I believe that God's going to use your marriage to be a blessing to others too. Before we close and go, we would like to give the mic to you so you can say a word to all these guests.
We would just like to thank everyone for coming today and celebrating with us. Apparently, it was too far away from my mouth, I guess. But it's such a blessing to see all of you here today. It's such a blessing to know that we have each one of you praying for us in the coming years. And we just thank God especially for bringing us together, for blessing us more abundantly than we could ever ask or think. And we just would like you to go home thinking about the marriage supper of the Lamb and think about that great time when we all can be together again.
Looking at the whole day as just, if I could sum up the whole day in one Bible verse, this wedding day, I would definitely sum it up with the verse that we had on our program. Now unto him who is able to do abundantly more than we could ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. There was no way that this day could have been more special. From the weather, I heard it got up to 70 degrees today on December 2, to the food, to the ceremony, all the people who came together and made this day happen. We just feel incredibly grateful, thankful for each one of you, those especially who have helped. My Aunt Nancy, I've hardly seen her this weekend. She's responsible for all of this delicious food, and for Christina, who is responsible for telling everyone what to do and making this day happen. For my Aunt Pam, who sewed my wedding dress since Friday. And to everyone else who is behind the scenes making this day happen. I just am very, very, very grateful. Robbie and I both are very thankful. And I don't know that we can use words to say that well enough.
Before we close with the final prayer, we want to give instructions to how we're going to send them off. You know, he liked to play with matches, and he told you what? The brother said, keep the matches away from him, right? But I guess we're going to send you off with fire. So little sparklers, so this is a send-off that little children love. So let me give instructions. Since we're dealing with fire here, we need to listen closely to the instructions. We're going to line up in 2 rows and each have a sparkler in your hands. And Kimberly, if you could raise your hand right here. She's going to make sure you're lined up there and that you're not too close and burning someone else's clothes or burning them. And then we're going to give a countdown when they're ready to walk out here. And then I'll light the sparklers together so that some of them are not going out before others are burning down too quickly. And you're going to capture a picture of all this. So we want to make it somewhat coordinated. So it looks like a nice event going out without people getting hurt or burned or burning their hands. So once again, we're lined up in 2 rows. The sparklers are back there on the table on the left. And they'll have people who come along and they'll light your sparkler, hopefully as simultaneously as possible. And we'll hold those up for our little sparkling archway as they go out to the car there. Let's bow our heads as we close this special event in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you are the one who created marriage. You are the one who knew what would be best for our happiness here on earth, and that will give us the greatest glimpse of what heaven will be like and what the Father's love is like. And Lord, we thank you that this gift has been given to Robbie and Esther. So now we pray that you'll bless this home. As they travel, may angels ride with them. as you give them opportunities to minister to others, Lord, may they have eyes to see that and be ready to be your servants. So we thank you in advance for the way you will bless this home as they live for you. Thank you for their friendship and for the fact that we can have an eternity where we'll have times like this together. In your name, amen.
Amen.
So we can line up out there and we'll send them off here in just a few moments.
My love. Titus, can you get Levi's attention? Do you want me to cut it?
I can catch them going out with sparklers with this because we can't get it with the camera.
Cut it. I'm going to take this out.
Yeah, that would be over there, right there on the right side. That table right up in front of the stairs door.
Thank you for getting his attention. So people are going to be lined up outside. That's probably not going to do so well, but
Well, the sprinkler,
sparklers.
picture.
Yeah, right here.
Hi, baby. Hi, Mama. So for those who are watching, we're just kind of keeping it going on the live stream. I'm gonna hopefully catch everybody with the sparklers. So yeah, y'all just kind of hang tight, and I'm gonna try to keep it going here. No.
Ashley's already.
Get behind them. There you go. Yeah, it does.
I was just lying there.
Here,
I got mine.
okay.
I'll get it with mine and then I'll.
I think I'm gonna stop streaming.